Screen around.
Hello.
Hey. Hello.
Welcome to the Wildflowers.
Number 19.
Our
I thought you were going to
19.
say, welcome to the wild side.
Well, yeah. Welcome to the wild side.
That was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I had a fun time with our last podcast with Heidi. That was really,
liked
not
her.
eye-opening for all of us because we know about the whole
Yeah.
rescue and stuff. But I hope that other people listen.
Yeah, it's such a great thing to educate yourself.
Yeah,
about.
and like you
Yeah.
said in the podcast, the last podcast, like even if you can't foster or adopt,
Don't
you know, they can need, you know, they need donations. It costs a lot of money to feed those dogs. They all get medical care, and most of them come to her needing
Oh, absolutely.
medical
All
care.
of them need-
Some of them even surgeries, and
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Like big surgeries
A lot
too.
of them do. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, so-
Anyway.
What's going on?
Well, I was reading in, I think I got this from, I don't know if it was CNN or the New York Times. It's not political
You're
news
not
or anything.
prepared.
It was like shortly after the New Year, and it was this thing that said, it's like advice from readers. They asked them, send an advice that you would give somebody and for the upcoming New Year.
Oh, okay.
So, and then they just randomly picked some. So,
Okay.
I just printed it out. There was a couple that really struck me. I'm not going to read all of them, but one of them was, this one really got to me. Not got to me, but made me say, "Oh, you'll understand in a minute."
Okay.
All right. Someone I know suggested that I stop beginning conversations by asking, "What's new?" and instead try, "What did you do today?" It was a good reminder that even though there is a lot of change happening in my life, that isn't the case for everyone. I have had better and more interesting conversations since. And I thought that is, because you can say what's new, even sometimes we do it to each other on the
I
phone.
think we just did it right now.
Yeah.
I think I just.
And, and they go, nothing really.
Right.
But if you say, what did you do today?
I
You
think-
know, even if it's just mundane things, that opens up the conversation.
That's
Huh?
No, I don't know if I'd be like, well, I had breakfast and
Well,
then
maybe you went somewhere. Maybe you met somebody when you went to the store, or
Yeah, no,
you know,
if you did
maybe
something.
your car broke down. Maybe you robbed a bank.
It's a good way to have more meaningful conversation with everybody you come in contact with.
Exactly.
That's something I'm trying to do this year. It's just whoever you come in
Right.
contact with, the
Yeah.
human to human contact.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
whether it be the person at the checkout line or
Mhm.
somebody, you like. Yes, I gave blood, and I thought I'd be. Usually I'd be in and out here. It took me for a long time because I stopped and had conversations with and I learned something
Right.
about everybody
Wow.
who did
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
I
love
know,
that.
it's interesting.
I love
That was also in the New York Times. They had in the beginning of the year this happiness survey or something, like 7 days.
Oh yes.
7
I
days
saw that.
of
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was about like your mental
Yeah.
happiness,
You
your
took a quiz.
emotional.
Did you take the quiz?
Yes, I did
I
take
did
the
too.
quiz. It said I'm very happy and well adjusted socially, so.
Yeah, I think mine was. There was one level higher for me.
Oh.
But,
Of course.
but no, it was because I don't interact much with my neighbors. Why are you laughing?
Oh, you mean,
What?
so not higher. Like I admit it sounded like I'm more social than you are.
Oh no, that's what I came across. No.
In happiness, and you
No,
are.
Yeah.
mine I could have gotten.
Oh, I
Oh,
see.
that's-
I see.
I was in the middle of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So anyway, one of the things was small talk,
Yes.
like on the bus, in the library, just to strangers, like approach a stranger and say, "Oh, isn't it like such a nice day?" Or
Right.
and then have that interaction, and they said it could really brighten somebody else's
Yes.
day. Maybe it's a person who is lonely and.
That might
No,
be the
absolutely.
only conversation they
Exactly.
have that day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they said it also brightens your day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it makes you feel
And
good.
yet, you get the people like, well, I won't say who, but well, my kids would make fun of me because I get like, even when we're out, we're very friendly to people, and like if we go out for lunch or
Yeah.
dinner, and we just, oh, how are you? Like,
Yeah.
and I remember even, where was I? that I was in Target and I was looking for something, and I went up to the girl that was working there. I said, "Excuse me," what? And I went, "I'm sorry." I said, "How are you?" And she went, "Oh, I'm fine." And I said, "Okay." I said, "By the way, where is your whatever?"
Right.
And I think that because I was like, I don't know, it just hit me that I just like, I didn't want to. I wanted to acknowledge who you were, you know. And,
Right.
Well, we all go in the retail business too, and that's
Yes.
true. You don't get asked that,
Yeah.
you know, when you're a retail. It was like, where's this book, or where's, you know, I want a cup of coffee.
I did that on the phone the other day. I answered the phone and it was from a doctor's office. Oh no, I called and the doctor's office answered, and it was Dr. So-and-so's office, you know.
Right.
And I said, oh, she said her name, and I said, oh, good morning, Orlean, whatever her name was. And then she hesitated. She goes, oh, good morning. And that changed the whole tone of the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. You know, I had the funniest wrong number, actually, that not just this past week. Somebody called up, and it was from a business, and I recognized the name of the business. And so I thought they were calling for me. And they were like, she goes, "Hi, Mary," or whoever it is, "it's Linda. Blah, blah, I got this invoice and blah, 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 and it's, I don't know what it's for, and, you know, I'm just so upset with it because it's $200 or something, and, you know, if I get another bill like this, you know, we have to figure this out." And she went on without a breath for about a minute, and she could tell she was really upset, and I was just like, I was like, oh, I said, "Linda," I said, "what's your favorite color?" And she goes, "Pink." And I was like, "Oh," I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "My name is Judy." I said, "You have the wrong number." I said, "But, you know," I said, "I'm glad I can make you laugh because it sounds like you're having a really bad morning so far."
What's your favorite color? I love that.
Oh, my sister-in-law and I, when we were in Paris, we were in the metro, and we weren't sure where we were going. So they have like the token booth, I guess it was, and this woman was behind her little cage in there. And my sister-in-law went up to her and she said, "Excuse me," and she asked the question for the line that we were looking for, and the woman said, "Bonjour, madame." So, and we did find out, because we took a walking tour after that, and the person who was running the walking tour, she said, "You are expected to always say bonjour before you do anything. Like, you have to say, like, good day, good morning, because French people get very upset if you don't." And we laughed, and we said, "Oh, yeah, we found that out this morning," because the waiter, "Bonjour, madame." And then Jean said, "Oh, bonjour." And then she was fine.
Good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Well, that's very interesting. That's a
Yeah.
good topic.
Yeah, so, and there was another one that I really love. You cannot learn anything when you are talking.
Yeah.
So, but there's
like
a couple
that.
of them. I could bring them up in different ones. I thought it was very interesting,
No, that
and
is. I love
printed
that.
it out, and I'll save it in my podcast book.
Yay.
Excellent.
Awesome. Now, I know that you do the food pantry. Did you want to talk about that now, or when we're doing the topic, the major topic? Does one have to do anything?
Oh yeah, really, it does.
Yeah,
So that'll be part of the
Because I want
topic.
people to know what you do. I think it's very impressive, and I know you don't like to get praise for anything,
No,
but
she
Well, it's really not a lot. It's
But- but it's a lot more
It's
than
a
a lot
simple
of people
thing.
do. No,
but
I think that's awesome. Well, you know what? I know that we want to have some wine. So before we do, because it's my turn for the wine, this was actually in the New York Times, speaking of the Times again, was in December 14th. And I wanted to share this in our last podcast, but I never got to it. But,
Because I didn't bring wine, and there's
well,
still,
no, even the one when we had our
December
audience.
14th was our last podcast, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Wow.
but we had Kathy, we had,
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
with
yes.
the audience member or whatever. All right, and I think I left this on my desk, so that's probably right. So here, it says, memories are made of these. Drinking wine is a fleeting pleasure. You sniff, sip, savor it in your mouth, swallow, and move onward. Soon enough, the wine is gone. What sets wine apart are the memories after consumption. Wine's power to conjure up a moment, an emotion, and a sense of time and place is uncanny. And this was written by Eric Asimov. And I just love that because there is something so social about, like, we do it for tasting here, whatever, but, and I just find that it's just always lovely to share a glass of wine.
I know.
With-
Or a cocktail.
Or, right.
And when you see like commercials or even in movies when somebody's pouring a glass, it
Oh,
always
yeah.
makes you want to be a
Yeah.
part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, even though I don't like bourbon, it looks very nice in a
Oh,
glass
I
with
know.
ice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, and then in today's times, they're saying any kind of drinking can be bad for you, any amount, which was, so in 2 years they'll say that.
Well, we're
you know,
gonna ignore that.
Yeah, yeah, no, a little bit of joy. There's something in a little bit of joy.
And it
Everything
tastes
in
good.
moderation. That's
Exactly.
what it is.
And what that they were saying in the article, though, even that it shouldn't even be in moderation. But actually, toward the end, they said if you drink wine every night, then maybe if you cut out a couple of nights, then at least you're doing something that you're
Yeah.
cutting it out. Whatever.
Well, the thing that I just read the other day is for women, 1 glass of wine a day. For men, it's 2 glasses of wine a day is like the threshold.
See,
So
I always
it
thought it was
depends.
one
It's
bottle. No, but whatever. Well, let me do this, and then we can sip, and then hear Judy's book. So this week I got my shipment from National Geographic Wines, and so I thought,
I love how they give a little card with that.
oh yeah, they give
Yeah.
every bottle of wine. It comes with the little notes and that kind of thing. So this is the wax bat, and what's interesting is that years ago I drank this a lot, and I totally forgot about it. And my daughter remembered. So I think when we lived in Memories Are Made of These, that's right. So I thought, well, let me share this. I hope I still like it. But I'm not going to read the notes, what it's
Okay.
about, until you. I feel like sometimes I
Would you
put
like
it in your
support?
head. Sure. You know, so I'm going to do the notes afterwards. See if
I already saw 3 pounds of wine
Oh, that's
on the
okay.
label. I saw it on the label.
Oh, that's okay. No, but I'm talking
Oh.
about
Huh?
like.
The cork dog
Your
broke.
cork dog
I'm
broke.
talking about like what kind of berries and that.
Oh, okay.
So you didn't do nothing wrong.
And I was reading in Wine Folly about that too, and the tasting
Did you
when it's
taste
on
this
your
already?
tongue.
No.
It's
Taste.
you're really smelling the cherries. You're not tasting them.
Wait, say that
You're
again.
smelling. But in the Wine Folly article that I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
they said
Thank you.
on the back of your tongue you are still smelling. It's all part of your olfactory system.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And when they say like the tasting of cherries, they said you're really smelling them.
Wow.
You're not- yeah.
Okay.
This is my
So
first
much.
glass of wine in a couple of weeks
Oh,
now.
that's
Oh.
right. That's
So I
right.
really should have a clean slate here to taste.
Yeah, I would say so, definitely.
Well, never mind.
Well,
But what are we toasting to, ladies?
well, number one, it's when this airs, it'll be right near Lisa, her birthday.
Yes.
So
Happy
happy birthday, Lisa.
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Lisa. And what else? Do we
Well, I toasted to my family last.
do you
last
have
Yeah.
to it'll be
So I
January?
think January is a slow month in my family.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Well, to good health.
Absolutely.
yeah,
To
good
the
health.
year of
I
the
know I
rabbit.
have my brother and my brother-in-law are both experiencing quite serious heart things right now.
Oh.
So to them
And
and
my brother-in-law, who just
Yep.
he had to be airlifted from upstate New York to Bronx, but he's back home now and he's doing okay. So
yeah.
to good health.
To
Yep.
good health to everybody and a good 2023. I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah, me too. It's a little is it when there's a lot of tannins in it that you
Yeah.
get that bitterness, that acidity?
This is the first glass of wine I had in like 2 weeks, and this is this is
The
doing it
wax
for me.
bat. Okay, well let me.
All
What,
right.
what do you pick up any notes?
I didn't see anything there.
Blackberry?
Good job. No, Lacey.
No, Lacey, you can't have wine. No.
Right, this has got to stop, little lady.
Nothing. I got
Peppery.
No, I don't taste that.
spice.
No, I don't taste that.
I don't know, the peppery, I can see the
No, I
peppery.
usually can pick up the pepper. I can't.
But
taste
it's
it.
to me it's very acidic.
A rounded tannins and a long smooth. So maybe I didn't have a discriminating palate when I was drinking
When
it
did you
years ago.
open this?
Just before, like
Oh,
not
just
just
today?
before. Yeah, today. about an hour.
Maybe it needed to be decanted.
Decanter.
Oh, I just.
Yeah, it's a little bitter.
Right? Yeah. I think it's. I don't know if it's. Did you keep the cork? I could look and see if it.
No, I tossed the cork. Why, you think it went bad?
I don't think it's bad. I think it's
You
your tastes do change. I mean, wines that I used to drink years ago,
That's
you know, I wouldn't drink now.
How much? What is the price point for this? No, I know you get it in a
Oh
box.
gosh. Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to
If you
remember.
drank it in the past, it probably was in the range
Like
like
$12.
12, yeah.
I
Yeah.
drank $12 wines and $10 wines, and
I
they're
know,
good.
It doesn't taste full bodied. Like
Right,
what kind
yeah.
is this again? Say
It's a blend.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
a blend. All right, so it's
yeah.
not. It's maybe it's not meant to be. It's,
Yeah, it's Cabernet, Syrah, and Malbec.
Yeah, it tastes like a thin wine to me, and that's
Shiraz,
just not my
Cab,
thing.
Yeah.
and Melba.
I like
Yeah.
all of those wines. I just
Don't like them blended.
I know I like a blend. I just don't.
Well,
this
okay,
isn't my
this is
favorite.
2 for 2, guys, because the last wine that I picked, they didn't like either. So.
Yeah. Maybe we won't let her do the wines anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think?
If she gets to 3 strikes, then you're out. So you have one more shot, Carol.
I love
And
that.
I'm gonna make you drink the Katy
I
Perry
love it.
non-alcoholic.
No! Oh my God, no. No.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't.
It tastes
Buy
like
it,
it tastes like
you
a
know.
wax tobacco.
Yeah, well, all right, let's, oh my God, all right, we gotta turn it so that people
All right.
know not to get it.
Well, somebody else may like it.
Yes, hey, you know
You know what? This would be somebody who doesn't like a full-bodied
Yeah.
red, who wants something that doesn't have a strong taste.
It doesn't taste very light to me either,
No,
though. It really
It's
doesn't.
not bad. It's just not. It doesn't.
I don't like the acidity, and I think that has something to do with tannins. But I'm
it
no
does-
wine
it does say-
expert, so
It did say
Right.
that, Peggy, it said, rounded tannins and a long, smooth finish.
yeah.
Oh, well.
Sorry.
So
what
I'm not going to dump it down the drain.
No,
No,
Yes.
neither am I. No, we
You know,
don't
it's
do
not
that.
awful. It isn't
Very
something that I
often.
would say, oh, I'm going to buy that now. So.
Yeah.
No. All right, so
right.
there it is for the wine. So now we're going to
Okay.
move on to the book.
Oh my, yes. Oh, you're gonna love this book. I love this book. Now, the story behind this, I was supposed to start Carol's manuscript, and I said, while it was printing off of my printer, I said, I'll start the
Carol.
first chapter of this book.
Can't get a break.
And I started the first chapter, and I couldn't put this book down. So I read this probably in like 5 days, you know,
Yeah.
which is a
And
lot
you're
for
busy,
me.
yeah.
Because I have whatever, but it's Jamie Ford, The Many Daughters of Afong Moy. And I was in Barnes & Noble today, and this book is on 50% off, so if you ever if you
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to get it. And this is not his first book, it's his 4th book. It just
Oh.
came out this year. This is by Atria Books, which is a division of Simon and Schuster. It is one of the best books I have read in such a long time. And when I was at the blood bank
that's
yesterday,
awesome.
everybody I was telling about this book, and so many people
Okay.
wrote it down, and they were all going to pick up this book.
It's surprising that you found people who actually read.
I know. Well, you know, I was when you
So
have these
true.
meaningful conversations just every day,
Uh-huh,
like
that's
you can
right.
pinpoint and
Yeah.
something that you have in common. But anyway, where do I want to start? Okay, it's a novel, it's fiction, but it focuses upon a concept which I had never heard before. It's about epigenetic inheritance. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
No.
Never did either. And it's basically, he explores through fiction the concept of how generational trauma passes through lineage.
Oh.
And
Wow.
he discusses a very true experiment in there about there was something done with mice, whereas mice were exposed to a fragrance, cherry blossoms, right before the bottom of their cage was electrocuted, which is awful. I get it. This is what they do to but anyway, so then anytime they ever smelled the cherry blossoms, they would go into a panic.
Yeah.
Okay. All of their future generations, whenever they smelled cherry blossoms, even though those generations weren't electrocuted like
Right.
that, would go into the same panic. Because
Oh
what
my
this concept
gosh.
is it alters, they say, like puts a marker or something on a DNA, on
Right.
some sort of genetic
Interesting.
to help you. So
Yeah.
the concept is they've explored this through like any like trauma victims, like Nazis, Holocaust survivors, people who've experienced really bad trauma that you may have. So he does this. I'm talking a mile a minute. I'm so sorry, but it was just so good through the lineage of Afong Moy. Okay, her story takes place, and he has a nice little graph here, in 1836, and over the next 150 years, all the way up through 2086, he goes through the stories of all of the female lines from Afong Moy. Similar to the book you discussed last time, where chapters, they're written in the narrator of her, of whatever generation he's talking about, whether it be Dorothy or Annabelle or Greta. There's a Greta in here as well. And you'll see the patterns emerge. He explores the patterns, why they react in a certain way to some sort of, stimuli or... And so it just makes the reader think about the patterns within your own family. Any joys that you have patterns, any tragedies, decision making, any struggles, any similar triumphs, right? And I love the dedication. He goes, this book is for anyone with a complicated origin story. I feel you. We kind of all have a complicated origin story, in talking, and to explore it in this way, I think is so interesting. I hope they make this into a movie. But one of them that he spends a lot of time on is Dorothy, who's living in Seattle in the year 2045, which is even though
it goes in the future
all the way up to 2086, and it goes back in time. So you learn a little things about the past. It's not a historical novel, but you learn about things from the past and some predictions for the future. So now Seattle is facing in the year 2045 every year tsunamis. That are coming through, and and how that has changed the landscape. And so she's got, I'm not giving anything away, but she's got mental illness, and so some depression and all of this, and she's exploring treatment through epigenetic therapy to see if she can change her DNA to react from this trauma. And I looked it up after this. It is a real therapy that's emerging, that's coming. They use it for cancer. They use it for autoimmune issues, even to treat mental illness. It's like I said, it's very experimental. It's emerging, but it's promising results. And I thought that was so clever in how I learned something. I love when fiction teaches me something and encourages the reader to look and learn about something you never would have been exposed to. It's so well written. This book you will love. You'll read it if I could read it in 5 days, that's a lot going on. You will love it. If anybody wants to borrow it, you're more than welcome to. But well done, Jamie Ford. I love it. And I didn't notice this when I got it. It says Read with Jenna is on here. So I wonder if they meet Jenna Bush.
Jenna Bush,
Does she have a reading group?
Yes, she does.
I didn't know that, but I guess she chose it for.
Oh, okay.
I didn't notice that when I bought it. I picked up the cover and I read the description inside, and I said, this seems like something I would really, really like. And I was not wrong. So
I wonder, is it coming out in paperback? Is that why it was on
that
sale?
might be. I thought it maybe because it might be said. But if you want to get it now, like I said, at your library, or it is 50% off at Barnes and Noble right now. I was just there today. So
awesome.
The Many Daughters of
Afong Moy.
I know this book. This was a bestseller for a long time.
Right,
The Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet.
I didn't read that.
I didn't read it either, but that was a bestseller for a long time.
Oh, okay. So then, well, it was new
that was
to
a
me
big title.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very
So
cool.
that was my.
I don't know what you want, Lacey. I don't know what you want. Do you want to come up here?
Yeah, I'll hold her if you want me to try to hold her. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Judy
Bad little pound puppies here today.
So how much time do we have now? Are we
have a
going
few
to?
minutes. Well,
We have a few minutes.
One thing I wanted to say though, when you mentioned about reading with Jenna, because Jenna also picked Jessamine Chan's book, The School
For Good Mothers.
For Good Mothers. I always screw up that title. And we're going to be doing an event with her. I'll actually be getting an opportunity to interview her at Madison Theater on February 9th, I believe it is. And so it's also the book that was on President Obama's list of books he read. He read in 2022. He shared that list.
I read it in 2022, and it's a great book.
Yeah,
it really is. And this is her paperback release.
That will be coming.
So the ticket price is $25 or $30 or something for the ticket,
right?
Yeah, includes the book and light refreshments, and it's but check On the Road Book Events, you'll find it there, or Madison Theater at Loyola University.
Yeah.
And we're also hosting Mary Calvi, and that will be in February as well. So, I just wanted to mention that, and yeah, that was
A lot of
just
good events coming
a
up.
lot of really
Yeah.
good events coming up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to reading more books this year too. After I get through yours.
Yeah. No, I've asked them to be beta readers for my latest manuscript.
Yes,
and
I
so-
hope. A lot of you probably know, but Carol is an author in her own right as well. So
Yeah, I'm
she's-
struggling and
we're-
trying to get my next whatever. My agent's been shopping it, so we'll see. But you know what? I think we'll take a break, and then Peggy is going to be leading the discussion.
That's right. And it's about food waste.
How interesting!
Believe it or not.
But trust me, I think it's going to be an interesting topic. I think that these are kind of topics that more people should discuss.
Yes.
So we'll see you in a few minutes. Right. Awesome.
We're back.
I love when Judy says that. We're
We're
back.
back.
Yes, and we are.
Alrighty. So Peggy, I believe, has this topic.
I do.
Tell us all
So
about
the
it.
topic is, I got the topic because I was reading an article in the newspaper, in the New York Times, and it was about a town in central Ohio who's, they started to find that there was a lot of food waste in their landfill. And it was a very interesting article, and I said, I think that's a good subject because it's something that all of us could do to control something like that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Awesome.
So let's see. I have notes because I can't memorize all this stuff. So hopefully I can actually read my own handwriting. I
So
do
we're talking
struggle
about
with
food
that.
waste.
So we're talking about food waste.
I thought we were talking about composting.
No, we're talking about food waste, and
Oh.
composting is part of that.
Okay.
Okay,
'Cause
so
I'm
that's
prepared for
one.
composting.
Well, that's fine because this all leads into composting.
Gotcha.
So that's why I said it's about food waste and composting.
All right.
But the main subject is food waste and what
Okay.
we could all do to control it in our own lives. So I'll just read some notes for to start out with, to get the conversation going. I'm sure that you all have something to contribute. We all eat food.
Yes.
All right, so food waste accounts for 8 to 10% of greenhouse gas emissions globally. That's a lot, just
Yeah.
the food that we buy that we don't eat.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 4 tips to avoid food waste, okay?
Oh, I like this.
And one of them is meal planning.
Yeah.
So before you go to the supermarket, you want to think about what you're going to eat that week. And then the second step is to really make a list, a shopping list. So when you're doing meal planning, you want to have a shopping list. Because how many times have any of you, I know I do this, I will go to the supermarket and I don't really know,
Never.
never what?
I never
Planning
go without.
meals?
No, I never go
Oh.
without a list.
Oh, okay.
I
So,
always have a list.
all right, so sometimes I have a list, sometimes I don't. I usually
Yeah.
just put a list of the things I know I'm going to run out of, like if I need mayonnaise, the
Right.
staples. But as far as meals, most of the times I go to the supermarket and I say, okay, what meat can I afford, and I build my meal plans around that, or what I already have in the freezer. But how many times have you gone to the supermarket, as I have? I'm guilty of it. Now I'm more aware of it. And I say, oh, let me get an avocado. Even though I don't know if I have a plan, a meal plan that's going to involve that avocado.
That I've done.
So
yes.
it's not ripe. So now when I get it home, I put it in my little basket there. And then
You forget about
days and days later, I said, oh, I have that avocado. Maybe I'll make some guacamole. And I pick it up and you cut it up and it's all black inside and it goes in the garbage.
Yeah.
People do it with bananas all the time. Oh, well, maybe I'll make banana bread out of them. Then they never do that. The bananas go in the garbage. Even with canned goods, like you have a tendency to stock up on them. A lot of times you never use them, and they do have expiration dates on them. I have a couple in my pantry. I was going to donate them to the local food pantry, and then I looked at the expiration date, and they all expired, like in the fall, the past fall. So, you don't
Well,
want to donate expired food.
Right, not donate, but on NPR they did have years ago about the expiration date, and you don't have to really stick to that date.
Exactly, I agree with that, but I wouldn't donate it.
No,
And a lot of
exactly.
them will say best buy.
Best
Right.
Yeah.
But, and you know, and in canned goods, as long as it's not a damaged can,
Right.
you know, it's
Right.
probably pretty safe. But you'd be surprised, people who come to the food pantry do look at dates.
Oh, of course.
And I don't blame
Yeah.
them, you know,
Yeah.
nobody wants old food. So meal planning is the number one thing that can help you do it. If you have too many leftovers, make fewer dishes. So if you start finding that, oh, I have a lot of leftovers, just, you know, make less food, less sides with it. And number 2 was save the scraps while you cook and start composting the scraps.
There's your compost.
I do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jessica has like this little composting container in her kitchen. So as she's cooking, she could put any of her things that's going to end up in the compost, because she does have a compost heap in the backyard
We
on
do
the side
too.
of the garage.
Yeah.
And she keeps them in there, and then when it's full or when she's ready, you know, before this gets smelly, then, you know, like during the day, she could collect them in there and then bring them out to the compost. I'm going to buy one of them because
Yeah.
I don't compost as much, because I said, let me ask her about it. I didn't know, like, what can I put in there? What don't you want me to put in there? What do I do when I put it in there? So, like, she gave me some instructions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then after the meals, freeze leftovers, and you're going to end up with a whole new dinner. And I do that
Me too.
because I cook for one person, but I don't make food for one person. Like if
It's
you're
hard.
making tomato
It's
sauce,
so-
I have a pot of tomato
Yes,
sauce. Or
Yeah.
if you're making a pot, it's a pot of soup.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
have those little shallow, you know, containers with lids, and I make portions and I keep them in my freezer. And then someday when I don't feel like cooking, I just take one of them out, I thaw it out, and I have instant dinner.
Isn't that awesome? when
It
you-
is awesome.
That's
It
my
really
favorite
is.
time.
Yeah.
And most of the times it's something healthy to eat, because most of the times we do, when you're
Yeah.
making something from scratch, you're using fresh ingredients. It isn't like something from a restaurant, which
Right.
could be loaded with fat and
Right.
salt. And so, and number 4 is, this is what I just brought up about the canned goods. Donate extra canned or packaged goods to a local food bank. Wasted food worldwide is enough to feed more than 1 billion people.
Wow.
It's a
Wow.
lot.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you're going to mention what was on the news the other night yet or not. The one that I told you about, all the wasted food that was from on the news that they were talking about in,
She doesn't get you.
I'm
You can say it on the news.
thinking.
you know, it was like they had bags and bags of wasted food. It was from a restaurant where the migrants were living, and
Oh, with the sandwiches.
and just saying,
Yes.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
yeah.
and they weren't eating it
Because
because they
they
were
put-
cooking
They
in
they
the
eat more
hotel
hot foods.
rooms,
Yeah.
yeah.
and they weren't even supposed to have hot plates. So
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
but all that food, like that should have been
Donated.
Yeah.
well, they were trying to do it.
yeah, they were trying to donate it, but it was they weren't following up on it, I guess, and they accepted too many donations.
Yeah, yeah.
I
it
mean,
was-
that happens even in the food pantry.
Oh, really?
Like sometimes we just get so much bread. Like we'll have, all right, so let everybody take 4 things of bread.
Oh.
So that's how we do it there. Like we had cases and cases of mangoes
Right.
yesterday when I was there. And the sign said, because they label everything, how much everybody's allowed to take. And it said 4 mangoes. And I said, wow, that's unusual, because they were nice, juicy, ripe
right.
ones. But they had so many of them, and they don't last.
Right.
No,
So,
mangoes don't.
yeah. Yeah,
But
so.
you can make things like even with the breads. Like a lot of people are like, we freeze our breads.
Yeah, I
You
do.
know,
Yeah.
If they're on sale too, like I'll
Yeah.
freeze in the freezer, and then you could take it out, and
Yeah.
it's perfectly.
Oh,
fine.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've done
Yeah.
it. Actually, what I do is I eat the Dave's bread, so I keep it in the refrigerator, and then the ends, the heels, or the near the end where it's so
Yes.
small, it's really too small for a sandwich. I save them and I put them in the freezer, and when I have a hamburger, that's my hamburger
Yeah.
bun.
Yeah.
So-
Or what you can do, which is what my mother always did, and I did for years, and I only stopped doing it a few years back, was when the bread goes stale, you make breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Breadcrumbs.
I
Yeah.
make
Bread
breadcrumbs
pudding.
in my little, I have a little food chopper,
Uh-huh.
but I give it to the birds then. Like I did
Oh,
it this
yeah.
morning. I had some extra bread and I said it's been now in the refrigerator, so I just ground it up and I
Right.
put it out for the birds, and it's gone. The squirrels eat it, the chipmunks eat it, the birds eat it. So, and the average U.S. household wastes nearly a third of the food that it buys.
I believe that.
This was a community in Ohio is monitoring. I can't read my own handwriting. I'm very sorry. It's residents. Oh, they're nudging their residents to change their habits.
Okay.
This community in Ohio, this one guy that worked for, I forgot, it was SW something, but it was like this waste thing, like in the sanitation department. He got like 200 residents in this community to participate. But before he did that, he went around to 200 residences and he went into their garbage containers.
Wow.
And he started pulling all this stuff out. And he loaded it up in the back of a truck and they brought it back to this sanitation unit place where they work. And they weighed it, like what the recyclables that got thrown out, the food waste that got thrown out, and then the landfill stuff that was getting thrown out. And it was a tremendous amount of especially food waste. I have the article. I recommend everybody looking at his Project Headway. The New York Times does it. It's like a newsletter, I think. And if you just Googled Ohio food waste, you could read the article. It was pretty interesting.
If you're a New York Times
Subscriber. That's true.
This
That's
doesn't
very
surprise
true.
me though in a lot of ways.
No.
You know, and it's funny, you know, now my husband is from Ireland and they have a very aggressive, you know, recycling and waste, you know, disposal system. They've been doing composting and they have to separate everything from food waste to you know, much more intensive than what we have here, and it's kind of sad that we're not catching up here in the States.
Yeah, and I'm sure, especially like in big cities, it's just harder to do. You know, look what they're going through in New York City.
Absolutely.
Just with, you know, like you can't even, you know, all the garbage in these gigantic buildings, they're just putting it out in bags and the rats get into the bags, and putting it out at 8 o'clock at night really isn't helping that much.
No.
Rats stay up all night long.
You know, but I think, and I correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong on this, but I think that they get charged, I think their waste gets weighed.
In New York City?
In Ireland.
Oh.
And they get charged. I could be wrong. It's something like that. Where how much waste you want to put out as little waste to the curb or in the bins as possible, because you're going to be charged. And that's interesting to.
Yeah, I guess that would them
deter
control
you.
what they buy and what they cook.
Absolutely. So you don't have as much excess.
Well, hopefully they're not burying it in the backyard, because then they have their own landfill.
Right.
You know, so that could be pretty nasty. But let's see. In the U.S., food waste is responsible for twice as many greenhouse gases emissions as commercial aviation. That's a pretty shocking number.
We don't hear that. We don't get.
No, we don't. We don't know a lot about recycling and even really what's getting recycled when they dump it in that truck.
Right, exactly.
You know, a lot of the stuff gets contaminated. Leading some experts to believe that reducing food waste is one of our best shots at combating climate change.
Right.
So each person has a responsibility to do what they can, you know, to control at least your little part of the world. If everybody did that, you know, it would really make a big dent.
Yeah.
And, you know, greenhouse gas emissions.
And we can't ignore the fact that climate change, it's already here. We see what's happening in California. We see, said the last 8 years has been the worst that it's ever been on record.
Yeah, with the fires and the floods and the mudslides and the rain.
I mean,
we're a society of convenience, and that's what I mean.
Exactly.
I mean, we, you know, everybody works now, and we're very busy lives, and so you need something, you need an ingredient. You go to the supermarket, but you know, sometimes, I mean, I grew up very, you know, not knowing certain things about where it came from and ingredients, and I've gotten into making soups from scratch.
Right.
Love soups. My kids love the soups, so I'm making a lot of different soups, which calls for some basic stock. You know, so it was very easy. oh, I need vegetable stock. Run out of vegetable. I need chicken stock. Or one day I wanted to make soup out of everything except the stock, and I'm like, how do you make? I just look up. It's so easy to make stock, and so now whenever we cut up the vegetables, I have a thing in my refrigerator with all the ends or the excesses or the scraps. And then once a week, like tomorrow on Sunday, usually I'll be making a big pot of stock. Or when you make a chicken roast, the bones, you can boil that down. That's all it is. Stock.
I have in my freezer. I have the bones from prime rib that we had at Christmas time, and all the ends that we weren't going to be eating with the fat. And Samantha threw them in a bag, and I said, put it in the freezer. I'm going to make myself, a nice beef barley soup.
Well, you said the same with the bananas. I don't throw away bananas anymore. They are in my freezer. I've got a bunch of brown bananas
that's the thing.
my freezer.
Yeah, you can freeze them.
And they work right, so they come out, they're a slimy mess, but they make the best bread when you come out. And
they're
so
very sweet.
And it's delicious.
Well,
so
it's funny, because, when I grew up on a farm,
yeah.
so you wasted nothing. I mean, I was raised, you're going to laugh at this, but even when my mom would unwrap the butter, the stick of butter, she'd scrape the paper, because there was butter on there. And that I always teased her about that, but, I always did it afterward, too. I think coming from the depression era, they learned not to waste anything.
Right.
And I that carried over to me. Where I just don't like to waste anything.
Epigenetic.
That's right. Yeah.
No. My dad used to say, your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Yeah.
He used to get so angry if we were wasting food, load up your plate and then you don't eat it.
Yeah.
It gets scraped in the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like do you remember Cookies Steak Pub?
I remember them. Yeah.
Cookies.
Yep.
And,
I remember
and
Cookies and Beefsteak Charlie.
I know Beefsteak Charlie.
And it was like the bar where you paid one price to eat, and people would just load up their plates, keep going back. But there's so much of that food
that was waste, and they can't. Once it's on your plate, they can't resell anything like that. So it just goes in the garbage.
I think it's a mindset that we have to have a mindset to be more cognizant of this.
That's what this school district ended up doing in Ohio. That's what this article was about.
Yeah.
I know. Thank you
Segue.
for the segue. There was this town that did that. They found after the first couple of months, they monitored it. And then the guy went in the garbage. The guy actually pulled out disgusting things. And he said sometimes it was dirty diapers just loose in there. It was gross. But they pulled it all out. They separated all the waste. They weighed it all. And then after doing this program with people about, shop better, throw out less, freeze your leftovers, they did it again, and they found that, oh God, I hope I can find the information. They cut down the food waste by 21% in this town. And only 200 people participated.
Wow.
Yeah, and in the town, I think there were 36,000 residents.
Holy moly.
Now, they did it in an affluent neighborhood. So, it's easier for people with money, to take the time to do that. They're not working 3 jobs to support their family.
Right. Good point.
But anyway, it just made them realize, oh my goodness, imagine if everybody did this, how much, money would be saved because it costs money to transport all the waste. So this school district participated in it. And it was an elementary school.
What a great learning.
I know. And what they did was in the cafeteria, they set up bins. And they said there were 6. I don't know what the 6 were labeled, but I know one of them was landfill, one of them was recycling, one of them was compost. And it was in an elementary school, so this little 6-year-old boy, when they first started doing it, the kids had to bring up their trays and sort what they had left on their tray.
So they were taught what goes into what.
So he picked up his hot dog bun that he didn't eat. I guess he just ate his hot dog. And he looked at the aide that was standing there, and he held it over the landfill, and she just went like that. Then he held it over recycling. She went like that. Then he did compost, and she said yes. And that's what the kids started doing. They were teaching these kids about
great.
food waste.
Yeah.
Because that's where you start.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the habits that we have.
No.
We grew up with these habits. We take things for granted. We have so much abundance in this country.
Yeah.
And so they had the kids sorting their own leftovers. And then anything like a packet of Jell-O or something that they didn't eat, or like a string cheese that was still packaged, they had a table for sharing, and they put that on the table, and anybody could take that home with them.
Oh.
And that school reduced their recycling trash pickups by 50%, and their trash pickups by 33%.
Wow.
And they saved a tremendous amount of money
Of
for that.
Do you have any idea how long ago this was? That they
This
did?
was just like a week and a half ago.
Well, at the school. Oh, really?
Oh, well, when they did it?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
the article came out a week and a half ago, but it wasn't that long ago. So pretty much, these kids are going to be the ones, like if we did this in all schools, or at least parents taught their kids about, not wasting things and just throwing things out randomly.
I like what you said and how they did it. They started with the young ones too, and
Yeah.
something that the girls were in kindergarten, and they had a kindergarten teacher who says when you have snack time, and if you're sending them in with lunch, it has to be, and she was adamant about it. It has to be a recycled.
Oh.
It has to be like a container, something that they bring home.
Right.
We are. And she goes, we are a no waste classroom, and I go like, oh, it's because I would grow up. You get your Ziploc bag, you put your stuff in, or your chips in the little snack bag, and then you throw. So I know some parents who were in that classroom were not happy. We're not happy with that, but I do have to say they got used to it. I got used to it, and still today they're in 8th grade now, and I make their sandwiches and I put it in a recyclable sandwich bag, which you can buy at Target for like $2. You rinse it out, and then it still works great.
I use all leftover bags. I use them for Poop Patrol. Lacey, I'm going to use one on you. Excuse me.
She might have to go out.
I'm trying to find. Oh, okay. So all these kids now in the school started educating their parents, and one parent that they were talking to,
Lay down.
the little girl's mother, Nima, her mother was asked whether Nima influenced her, and she laughed. She said, "What? You mean how I can't take longer than a 5-minute shower?" She said.
Yeah.
Or how I forgot a reusable bag at Kroger and had to carry things out in my hands. So it says Nima, a Hilliard 9th grader, also prodded her mother to compost their food scraps.
Yeah.
So it's changing the behavior of millions of households.
Absolutely.
May be a Herculean task, but changing the behavior of one household can be done with just a single Nima. And Nima was the little girl's name.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
we've started our own compost probably a few years ago. The benefits of it too. Niall takes care of most of it, to be honest. I just add to it. But you have to turn it, you have to remove,
you have to keep brown stuff in it.
Oh yeah.
keep what in it?
Brown stuff like leaves and grass,
oh, okay.
dead leaves and grass.
We get a lot of great soil. Our soil, we have raised garden beds because I love gardening, and we have our own vegetables and we grow our own food. Is the best gardens we've had in years because we are using this soil that we've made. That's full of nutrients.
It's very rich. Yeah,
it's rich. We've given some to my parents.
And you know what? It doesn't smell because somebody asked me that.
It doesn't.
One of my sisters said, "Yeah, but doesn't it smell?" And I said, "Not at all.
It doesn't.
Because you have to keep on turning it.
You keep turning it, and it's not a lot of work. I mean, I don't turn. I'm sorry, but my husband doesn't complain.
Jessica keeps a pitchfork right in it.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is dig it in and flip it over. That's all. Yeah.
That's it. It's great. So if you ever, well, you've got your own, but I give bags of
Yeah.
it to my parents. I mean,
Yeah.
people would pay a lot of money for this.
That's great.
Well, people used to come into Starbucks when I worked in Starbucks.
For the coffee grounds.
We used to save coffee grounds for people. They call and say, "Hey, could you save me some coffee grounds today?" And we put them in bags, and they come and pick them up, and people used it for their gardening.
Yeah.
So this morning, for
I
the
do
first
that.
time, I took the basket from my percolator, and I said, "Walk your lazy ass out to," because the compost bin is all the way in the back on the side of the garage, and I said, "Just walk over there and throw your damn grinds in." And I had a piece of lime.
But not even that. What I do is I save them in the spring separate from the compost. Because I do bulbs.
Oh, okay, all right.
And the squirrels and the rabbits will eat your
Oh,
bulb.
yeah.
Not if you put coffee grounds around where your bulbs are.
That's awesome.
And in the garden. So I put them all around there. I'm like a crazy lady in the morning. But you know what? My tulips come up uneaten every year. So
That's great.
you could do that if you have bulbs.
Yeah. Now you put it on the soil, not on top of the bulb.
In the spring, I put it around the soil. So if they don't like the smell, they don't come near them.
Now that's alkaline. Is that what for the pH? I know some plants like it, some plants don't.
But my tulips like it.
Yeah.
And it keeps the squirrels away because I have a ton of squirrels.
Yeah, I have chipmunks and squirrels and rabbits, and they like to eat
and
everything.
I have rabbits
they eat my flowers, the rabbits. They actually take the flower off the stem.
Put the coffee grinds around it because we do it around our vegetable garden, and the rabbits don't come near it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great.
I know, but I kind of feel sorry for them.
They'll find something else.
But they eat my flowers.
They'll find something else to eat. They eat grass. They eat whatever.
Yeah, if I have a little bit of lettuce, a leafy stuff left in the bottom of a container, I sometimes I don't even go to the compost. I just put it out for the rabbits and like the carrots that are starting to turn white. I throw out in the garden, and they're always gone the next day. So
they'll eat it.
Yeah, because we have a lot of rabbits.
This was a really good.
Yeah. So anyway, do we have time? We do.
Oh, can we talk about that thing I saw on the news? I sent you.
Well, we have.
Yes. No, go ahead.
Remember about the human composting?
Oh yeah. That's gross. I'm sorry. That's really gross.
There is something I saw in the news, and that's why. It's
all right. Let's talk about it. You can gross everybody out. Get ready to be grossed out.
Yeah.
And no, don't do it to me.
So there is something that's been a company, and I lost this site here. It was on my text where you could, when somebody dies, they can put you in a composting bin, and from 0 to day 60.
So disgusting.
It's really not. I mean, it's the company is called. Return to home composting. 60 days to decompose, and then the soil is returned, given to the family if they want it, right? So the family can come and pick you up instead of like an urn.
Well, how about your bones?
Everything is composted the way they do, with there's probiotics or whatever they put in.
So the bones break down also,
and it goes in 60 days.
How about your hair?
Everything that what they say, and then you get your bag of soil, which I guess you're in it. And you could use it for whatever. And if you don't want to, if your family doesn't want to pick you up, they have a forest like on the ground, and then they spread you out in the forest as the soil.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, you're going. If you're going to be buried, you're going to soil anyway. You're just
I
stuck
don't want to be
box.
buried. I want to be cremated, and I want my ashes spread like by a tree. I love trees, so spread me around like in a forest.
You could do, and you could, and it's not. I looked it up. It's just under $5,000 for the whole process, and that includes transporting the body from wherever it is in the United States. They do all 50 states to the place, and then they turn you into soil.
So they put you in like
it's like a bin. It's like but it was like a big bus. It's bigger than a coffin, and it's bigger than what they're just going to shove you in the fire anyway. If you get cremated, and then they, you get rotated, I guess, and then 60 days later, there you are.
Wow.
So what do you guys think? Because I see we're almost running out of time. We'd love to hear your feedback on all of this.
The Catholic Church is not in agreement with this, just
whatever.
to let you know. But there you are. That was
I wanted to read one thing because they said, talking people into this isn't that easy, but you got to hit them in their pocketbook. And they said that the average person in Central Ohio spends $1,500 a year on food that they do not eat. And that's, they think people are gonna come around with that, oh my God, I'm wasting
Right.
$1,500,
So tell
on
them
food that I'm
upfront.
throwing out. So they
Right.
said you gotta hit people in their pocketbook
Yeah.
to get them to buy into this, so.
Okay.
So anyway,
That was
anyway,
interesting.
We
yeah,
always learn something.
there's
from
so
the
much
podcast.
more about it.
Look it
And
up, guys.
you could look it up. I'm pretty sure it's, what did I call it? Head Project or
Project Headway.
Headway? Project Headway. Look it up. It's a New York Times thing. So
So-
anyway,
Thank you for watching, if you're still with us, and thank you for putting up with my little Lacey.
She's
who was
not
a very,
bothering me.
she was a very bad girl tonight.
she
but
just wants attention today.
I guess so.
I think she just wanted
Yeah.
to get over here.
I think she did.
Oh,
Well, thank
probably.
you. Have a good one.
Have a good one,
We'll
everybody.
see you soon.